It's not just that signature sound, but also the unusually effective workflow that makes Tokyo scoring strings very appealing. It just released, and it's a flagship strings library that promises to bring the precise and agile sound of Moroya strings into our homes. Highly expressive and playable legato, a smart mode for automatic articulation switching and timing adjustment, customization, and editing options are supposed to make that ambitious goal possible. I'm convinced everyone watching this video has already heard the Moroya Strings Ensemble at least once in their life. They dominate the soundtracks of countless world-famous Japanese video games and anime series. There are so many heavy hitters here that I don't even know where to start, so best if you just pause the video and check for yourself. Impact Soundworks took the massive challenge to turn this ensemble into a sampled virtual instrument. Special props for pulling off these logistics in COVID times. The 5 patches, one for each instrument group, are recorded in Tokyo's Sound City and mixed by the acclaimed sound engineer Mitsunori Aizawa. If you want, you can also mix them yourself with 4 mic positions. The tone of Tokyo scoring strings is gorgeous and a bit more on the brighter side compared to, for example, the more mellow cinematic studio strings. The iconic recording studio, together with the relatively small section size, give the sound a present and focused quality. The library is quite dry. If you want to slap a reverb on it, the official recommendation is a Bricasti style reverb, such as 7th Heaven. The preset Large and Near works pretty well, but it's just a suggestion. Tokyo Scoring Strings covers the most important articulations with various legato bows, tremolo, trill and harmonic longs, and a nice variety of shorts. What's really cool is that you can combine them by adding different short overlays over your longs and tweaking the releases and legato speeds. But more on that in the workflow part of the video. Attention, legato check. I own 2 strings libraries that are famous for their silky smooth and expressive legatos and have a comparable section size. Cinematic Studio Strings and Performance Samples Vista. Can the highly playable and expressive legato of Tokyo Scoring Strings compete with these? I'm positively surprised. The legato transitions are quite tight and perhaps a little less excessively romantic than Vista's sonic love letters to our ears, which totally makes sense in the context of Japanese video game and anime soundtracks. But they're still gorgeous. There's bowed, slurred and portamento bows for phrasing melodies, and they sound musical and just right. A huge bonus to me is that with the so-called look-ahead mode, you do not have to tweak the legato timing and nudge notes around. Again, check the workflow part of the video. There's 3 vibrato layers. No vibrato, a bit, and a lot of vibrato. The shorts are crisp. There are 2 spiccatos with an extra snappy spiccato seiko for maximum agility. The sound is direct and detailed, again thanks to the smaller section size. Tokyo scoring strings has a huge amount of utility, which has been becoming more and more important to me. For this video, I want to focus on the big ones I use and that provide the biggest benefit to me. For smaller details like automating ADSR envelopes or customizing dynamic layers to velocity ranges, please check the official walkthrough and consult the manual. First of all, I love that you can select different short attack overlays for your long notes and even adjust the volume and timing offset. It helps me give more definition to my soaring legato melodies when I need it. And then there's look-ahead mode, a smart system that can automatically adjust articulations to your quantized MIDI and play it back with the correct timing consistently, no matter which legato type and speed or which short articulations you use. No key switches needed. Instead, it's controlled by splitting the velocity range into two halves. The upper half triggers shorts and selects the articulation based on the length of the note. And the lower half triggers legato, either bowed or slurred. Activating the sustain pedal CC64 triggers portamento slides. I love working with velocities, and after getting familiar with the behavior of the different velocity ranges in look-ahead mode, it is easy to have it assign the articulations based on the MIDI data. Again, upper half of the velocity range for shorts, Tokyo scoring strings will pick the right articulation for you based on the note length, and the lower half for legato. This workflow can be a pretty huge improvement for people who prefer to program their MIDI, and might be less of a game changer for the recording type of composers. It makes me quite happy that I don't have to nudge notes around for consistent legato timings like I do with CSS, and selecting short note articulations based on the note length for me personally works better than having it assigned to the mod wheel. I love to step record things whenever I can and use a bit of humanization afterwards. Don't get me wrong, CSS is still an amazing musical library that serves as the main toolkit for myself and many other composers out there. But when it comes to smaller section size strings library with a great legato, TSS has become a valid new contender here that also brings a whole lot of workflow power to the table. If you want that JRPG tone with a smaller, focused ensemble size for telling musical stories in a big context, then TSS is for you. I will have to find out over time how well it handles various genres that are not tailored to that agile and focused Japanese sound. From my first impression, I think I actually prefer the workflow and customization options of TSS, even though the consistency of Cinematic Studio strings within itself and with its brass and woodwind libraries is rarely matched by other libraries. It's a subjective matter, and I'm happy that I have both. But one thing is for sure, TSS gives CSS a run for its money. And that's a very big compliment to both of these. I wrote a little demo piece with Tokyo scoring strings, where I showcase its different articulations. The entire thing is written in look-ahead mode, with quantized MIDI, no key switches, and everything is on 5 instrument tracks. What do you think? Can TSS compete with the top strings libraries? Tell me your opinion in the comments while listening to the demo.